Hi, I'm Katie Seaver of katieseaver.com. If you're a regular watcher, you know that last week I spoke about the insanely easy thing you can do to make sure that you stop eating when you're full. So this week, I want to take it to a whole nother level and talk about the Jedi, Ninja, Genius, Nobel Prize winner thing that you can do to make sure you stop eating when you're full. Because as I spoke about last week, for so many of us, it sounds nice to stop eating when we're full, but we so often find ourselves eating past fullness. So if you want to be a really advanced practitioner of intuitive and luscious eating, this week is for you. And my number one strategy for all of this, the way that you can achieve that Nobel Prize winning level of it all, is that you have to become the foremost expert of your own hunger and fullness. So that's kind of a wild thing to say. What does that actually mean, you might be wondering? And I would say that it boils down to two key things. The first is that before you eat, you need to catalog what your hunger is or rate your hunger on a 1 to 10 scale. So that might sound kind of abstract, so let me break that down. For me, the way that I use this scale, and it's very inspired by Janine Roth's work, so I recommend checking that out, is that 10 is like obscenely full. You're like bursting at the seams, you're crazy full. 1 is like you're literally about to die of hunger. 5 is exactly in the middle. You're neither hungry nor full. So the key here is that before you start eating, you should check in with your body because let's face it, that's the only part of you that knows whether you're hungry or full. This part of you doesn't know. It's all about this part of you, and figure out where you fit on that scale. So some questions you should ask yourself are, what does it feel like to be hungry? Because you might not have asked that before. Like, what does it feel like in your belly? And what does it feel like in your heart, in your throat, in your mouth? With my clients, I go through a very detailed process of them to really reacquaint them with that experience. But you can do it on your own too. So ask yourself, on that 1 to 10 scale, where are you in terms of your hunger level? And you may not know exactly the first time you do this exercise. Like for me, it took a while to be like, oh, well, actually, this type of hunger is a 4 and this is a 2. And once you've done that, it's good to start to begin to notice patterns. Like, when does it feel really good to start eating? For me, my sweet spot is a fullness level of 3. Because obviously 5, you're not hungry at all. 4, I'm like a little hungry, but like I might as well, it wouldn't feel that satisfying to eat. I might as well just keep doing whatever I'm doing. But if I let myself get all the way to a 2, I'm like hangry. You know, I'm gonna like destroy anyone near me, and it like does not feel good to be that hungry. So a 3 for me is my sweet spot. But you're gonna know for you, for your own self, because you're gonna be the foremost expert on your hunger. So that's the first step. You figure out how full you are on a 1 to 10 scale, and you write it down. The second step is that after eating, you also evaluate how full you are on that same 1 to 10 scale. So for me, I find that, and it took me a long time of like really listening to my body and really asking like, how does it feel to be full? How does it feel in my belly? How does it feel like in my navel area? How does it feel in my heart and my back to be full? I found that it felt really good to be like a 7. Sometimes I actually really like being a 6, but it kind of depends. The other questions to begin to ask yourself are, how does your fullness level, how is that affected by how hungry you were before? If you were 4 in terms of fullness before, do you need to eat to be an 8 to be really satisfied, or can you be a 6? Like, just sort of notice what your patterns are. And like, what feels good to you? Like, do you like being a 9? Is like being like really belly full, like a really good feeling? If so, great, now you know. Or do you prefer to be a little lighter so you feel like you could like dance a jig after you eat a meal? There's no right or wrong answer here, and in fact it'll vary a lot. When I first started doing this, I really just loved being full because I had spent so much of my life not letting myself get really full. But over time, I find that it's actually nicer to be a little bit lighter. Not that I want to be hungry, but just a little bit lighter. So that's 6 or 7. So yeah, those are these 2 tips. The idea being that if you can become an expert in your own hunger and fullness, if you can notice in a really detailed way how hungry you were before you started eating and how full you were after you ate, then it's really easy to stop when you're full because you are like a genius at knowing when you're full. So that's my tip. If this is challenging for you, I hope you'll check out the other content I have at katiesiever.com. If this isn't challenging for you, I hope you'll check it out anyway. As you'll see on the site, I also do one-on-one coaching for people who want to really dive deeply into that, so I hope you'll check that out as well. And please, as always, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of everything here. Until next time.